Welcome to Rise Up Voices from the Front Lines, your window into relationships, identity, safety, emotional awareness, regulation and intelligence, unleashed potential, passion and purpose.
Welcome back to Rise Up Voices from the Front Lines, and this is a trauma-informed leadership series episode. I'm Krista Fee, and today we are going deeper into resilience, not as grit, not as survival, but as transformation. The phoenix doesn't emerge from the fire unchanged. The flames don't leave it the same bird that it was before. Fire reduces it to ashes, and only then does it rise up, new and different. That's what resilience really means for leaders. Not rising back into what was, but rising forward into what could be. Not surviving the fire unscarred, but allowing the fire to teach, refine, and transform. Today's conversation is about fire as a teacher and how leaders can rise up differently. So let me share a story with you about the responder who couldn't go back. A paramedic once told me about the first time that he lost a child on scene. He said, "I couldn't unsee it. I couldn't just go back to who I was before. That version of me was gone." And for a while, he tried to grind through. He buried the pain. He told himself that resilience meant just keep going. But the fire was burning him hollow. And eventually, through therapy and peer support, he realized the truth. Resilience was never about going back. It was about allowing that loss to deepen his compassion, to change how he showed up for families, to reorient his mission. He didn't rise up the same. He rose different, and that difference became his gift as a leader. So let's talk about reframing resilience as recovery and renewal. The first truth that fire teaches us is this: recovery is survival. The nervous system can't function indefinitely in survival states. Chronic stress hijacks empathy and distorts judgment, and it corrodes trust. Leaders who grind without renewal are destined for disaster. Resilience leaders practice disciplined recovery. They rest, reflect, restore, because it's a necessary part of leadership. Think of fire as a cycle: burn, collapse, renew, rebirth. Resilient leaders honor the cycle instead of denying it. And I don't think we talk enough about post-traumatic growth. The second truth that fire teaches us is this: growth is possible after trauma. Psychologists Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun call it post-traumatic growth. It's the positive transformation that emerges not in spite of struggle, but because of it. Those who have gone through the fire often experience a deeper appreciation for life, stronger, more connected relationships, greater personal strength, and a renewed sense of purpose. But post-traumatic growth doesn't happen automatically. Some leaders calcify in pain. Others metabolize adversity through meaning-making, support, and reflection. And those are the leaders who grow. The fire teaches, but only if we're willing to listen. So let's look back at a historical figure who demonstrates this concept really beautifully. Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison. He could have emerged embittered, consumed by vengeance, but instead he emerged different, tempered, patient, committed to reconciliation. The fire of prison didn't leave him unchanged. It reshaped him into a leader who could hold a fractured nation together. Fire became his teacher, and because he allowed it to change him, he was able to change his world. Now let's look at what it looks like in real lives today. Because I've worked with veterans who returned from combat profoundly changed. Some wrestling with bitterness, hypervigilance, mistrust. Others, through healing and community, rising with renewed mission. mentoring younger service members, advocating for mental health, leading with deeper empathy. The difference wasn't the fire they all faced. The difference was whether they allowed the fire to consume them or to teach them. So let's talk about the shadow side. When fire consumes, because not every leader rises from the flames. Some are merely and completely consumed. When leaders refuse to face their ashes, fire doesn't refine them, it twists them. It hardens them into shells of defensiveness, anger, and bitterness. And the cost is devastating, not only to the leader, but to everyone that they touch. Think of the leader who suffers betrayal and never heals. They rise from the fire suspicious, cynical, and closed off. And their teams feel it. Loyalty is demanded, not inspired. Every new voice is treated as a potential enemy. Or the leader who endures public humiliation and refuses to integrate it. Instead of humility, they rise from the fire obsessed with control. Fear of failure drives them to micromanage, manipulate, and punish. Their people begin to walk on eggshells. Creativity dies, and the organization calcifies into fear. And then there's the leader who experiences loss, but refuses to grieve. They bury their pain under rage. Over time, their leadership becomes corrosive. They weaponize shame, drive wedges, and crush dissent. The fire didn't teach any of them. It consumed them, leaving only scorched earth behind. And history is full of these shadows, leaders who turned pain into vengeance, who allowed resentment to become the engine of movements. Entire generations have suffered under leaders who let fire consume instead of transform. And this is a terrifying truth. Fire is neutral. It will burn no matter what. The difference is whether you enter the flames willing to be broken open, or whether you let the flames harden you into something unrecognizable. I've had my own ashes moments, seasons when the fire stripped me down, when I thought I couldn't survive the loss or betrayal. I faced abuse, domestic violence, a fire that destroyed everything I owned, and a cancer diagnosis that took away my ability to have children. For a long time, I believed that resilience meant bouncing back, pretending the flames hadn't touched me. But eventually I realized that version of me was gone. There was nothing to go back to. And in the ashes, I discovered something new. Deeper compassion, sharper clarity, a courage I didn't know that I had. The fire didn't just hurt me. It taught me. And I rose differently. So I want to give you some real and applicable tools you can work with right now in your own life so you can begin learning from the fires. Pause in the ashes. Don't rush back into action. Sit with loss long enough to learn from it. Allow all feelings to be seen, heard, and valued for the messages they're sending. Grieve and seek meaning, not just survival. Ask, what is this teaching me? How is this shaping me? Lean on community. Support transforms trauma. Isolation calcifies it. Integrate the shadow. Don't deny bitterness, grief, and rage. Face them, name them, and choose how they will or won't shape your leadership. And rise different. Accept that you won't be the same. Let transformation be the point, not the failure. Here's some neuroscience insights on how fire rewires your brain. This is where the science fuels hope. Your brain is plastic. Even after trauma, neural pathways can be reshaped. With reflection, therapy, and community, the brain can rewire from hypervigilance to regulation, from despair to meaning, from avoidance to courage. The fire literally reshapes us neurologically. And resilience is the practice of guiding that reshaping in the direction of growth. Let's talk about a teacher that I once worked with who lost her husband suddenly. She said, "For a year I was ashes. I couldn't imagine standing in front of students ever again." But over time, she began sharing her story of loss with her students, not to burden them, but to model authenticity. She told me, "I'm not the teacher I was before, but I think I might be a better one. The fire broke me open, and now I teach from a place of compassion I didn't know before." Her students didn't just learn academics, they learned resilience. So here are a few questions you can ask for even deeper self-reflection. What fire in my life has left me different? And what have I learned from it? Where am I still trying to bounce back instead of to rise up, forward? How can I integrate my shadow so the fire refines me instead of consuming me? Fire always leaves its mark. No one passes through the flames unchanged. The phoenix rises not in spite of the fire, but because of it. And it never rises the same. It rises completely new. And that's the invitation for us as leaders, to stop pretending resilience means bouncing back untouched, to start embracing resilience as being reshaped, refined, and renewed. And if you're in the fire right now, know this: you are not failing because it hurts. You're being given the chance to rise up different. And that difference may be the very gift that your people, your movement, or your community needs. So thank you for the front lines. This is a trauma-informed leadership series episode. And if this episode speaks to you, share it with someone who's walking through their own fire. Because the more leaders rise differently, the more our communities can trust, heal, and rise up together. So join me in the Rise Up Trauma-Informed Leadership Program, or schedule a custom training to meet your organization's needs. Rise up out of the ashes of your experiences and live and lead your life on fire.
Become a Rise Up Hero sponsor to provide mental wellness and crisis response resources for those who serve country and community. Join us in the Rise Up movement today.